Okay, so looking at yesterday's quiz, let's go over each one of these items. The first one is finding the slope between 2 points. So we have our x1, y1, x2, y2. So our formula says the difference of the y's divided by the difference of the x. So in this case, it would be -2 minus 6 over 4 minus a -3. Negative negative makes it positive, so we have -2 minus 6, which is -8, over 4 plus 3, which is 7. So our slope is -8 over 7. Okay, now for number 2, it tells you the slope, and it gives you the 2 points 5, 7, so that's the first point, x1, y1, and -1, m. So we would have the difference of the y's over the difference of the x. That becomes m minus 7 over -1 minus 5. And I know that whatever we get here when we simplify this fraction, the slope is equal to -2. So in the numerator, I can't do anything. I'm just going to have to leave it m minus 7. In the denominator, I get -6. And this fraction is equal to the slope of -2. So now I have this equation that needs to be solved. So I would multiply both sides by a -6 to get rid of the denominator. That gives me m minus 7 equals -2 times -6 is a positive 12. And then when I add 7 to both sides, I get m is equal to 19. Okay. All right, so on number 3, you have a table full of points. So you can pick any of those points and find the slope of the line. But we want to know particularly the rate of change that occurred between 2004 and 2006. So between these 2 points, and it says years after 2000. So this would be 2004, this would be 2006. So we have the difference of the y's is going to be 39 minus 37, which is 2. The difference of the x would be 2 years, and 2 over 2 is 1. So what we are changing here is the cost in cents. So it's a 1 cent change per year. On number 4, it says determine the slope of the line with an x-intercept. So if we think about a graph, the x-intercept is -4. So that point would be 0, -4. I'm sorry, no, it would not. It would be -4, 0. And that's the mistake a lot of people make, including myself just now. Remember, the first coordinate always describes your x-coordinate, and that's -4 on the x-axis. It says your y-intercept is a positive 5, so that point would be 0 on the x, 5 on the y. And if we found the slope of these points, I would say 5 minus 0, which is 5, over 0 minus a -4, which is a positive 4. 5 over 4 is our final answer. Next, we have number 5, given the equation, and notice it's in standard form. What is the x-intercept? What is the y-intercept? So in this case, if I want the x-intercept, that happens when y is equal to 0. So the y term goes away, and I'm left with 4x equals 12. And if we divide by 4, we get the x-intercept is 3. And we write that as a point, so it would be 3, 0. Then, if we want to know the y-intercept, that happens when x equals 0. So really we're looking at this term, -2y equals 12. And if we divide by a -2, we get y is equal to a -6. So as a coordinate, as a point with coordinates, it would be 0, -6 on the y. Now it says graph the equation given in number 5. So if I were to graph the x-intercept at +3, so on the x-axis I go to +3, and the y-coordinate is at -6, way down here, right there. And if we draw a line, sorry I don't have a ruler on this one, but that's what the line should look like. It should go through -6 on the y and +3 on the x-axis. Now for number 7, it says write an equation for the following graph in slope-intercept form. So slope-intercept form, I need two things. I need the slope, and that's always going to be my coefficient of x, and I need the y-intercept. Now, you probably looked at this graph and said, well, I can't tell the y-intercept. Well, you can't see it visibly on the graph, so there are a couple of things that we can do. First of all, let's find the slope between the 2 points that are outlined here. That would be a rise of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 over 2. So a slope then of 6 over 2 simplifies to 3. So we have half of our equation here. Our slope is positive 3x. And then our y-intercept is where this would cross the y-axis. So if I look at this last point, oops, let me pause for just a second.